This afternoon, we're keeping an eye on a situation in southeast Austin.
Why an area around the Tesla Gigafactory is being evacuated.
And President-elect Donald Trump sat down this morning with President Biden. What the two leaders discussed.
Not one, but two cold fronts in our area across the next few days. We'll break down your weekend forecast, and hey, we may be getting some rain.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
We have been following some developing news all day for you. A gas leak is causing some issues in southeast Travis County.
This happened right near the Tesla Gigafactory, not too far from Austin's airport. KXAN's Dylan McKim is joining us live now again with what we've learned so far. And Dylan, what's the latest from Atmos Energy?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, where we're standing right now is the north side of the Tesla factory. On the south side is where this gas leak is happening. Atmos Energy telling us that a construction crew actually hit and damaged a natural gas pipeline. And because of that, Austin Fire Department, they sent out a precautionary evacuation for a nearby cooling station on the south side of the factory, just for that area. Now, here on the north side, things are as usual. People are going about their day, walking around the factory, driving around the factory, continuing with their workday. There is no evacuation order over here for them. As far as traffic, it really does pertain, this does impact the internal roads on the Tesla factory that is not accessible to the public. So as far as the toll road of 130, completely open on both the north and south lanes, and the feeder roads, again, both completely open. It should not be a worry for you to drive in this area as they continue to work on this issue. I know that Atmos crews are out there right now trying to repair the damage, and the Austin Fire Department said that one crew will remain on scene and they have no further updates as to what's happening here. But guys, we'll send things back to you in the studio.
Dylan, thanks again for joining us. President-elect Donald Trump is in Washington right now for the first time since winning a second term. NBC's Bree Jackson is in D.C. with those details.
President-elect Donald Trump making a return to the nation's capital and back to the White House. He meets with President Biden in the Oval Office today, a tradition that shows the peaceful handoff of power and one that Mr. Trump did not offer to Biden back in 2020.
Politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim. You're welcome.
And before the meeting at the White House, Trump met with Republican House lawmakers as they focus on the new administration's priorities.
You know, we had like historic kind of numbers, especially for the president, but we won't get into that.
And now he comes back with a possible sweep of both the Senate and the House. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Thanks as always, Bree. In the last hour, though, Senate Republicans did select Senator John Thune of South Dakota as their leader in the next Congress. He will replace longtime leader Mitch McConnell, who is stepping down after a record 18 years. The GOP senators met behind closed doors to vote by secret ballot. We're learning that the second-place finisher in that contest was John Cornyn of Texas. It is not yet known, though, if Senator Thune will meet with President-elect Trump while he is visiting Washington today.
First warning weather.
A lot of headlines out of Washington, D.C., but we know our state capitol is buzzing. We're going to have more on that as we head into our next legislative session, actually just coming up in a bit. But first, all I see out there is sunshine. Yeah,
it looks pretty nice out there. And Tommy, we have a bit of news to share with people. The temperatures should drop pretty soon.
Yeah, we have one more day of definitely 10, 15 degrees warmer than average where we should be, but that'll change in the next few days. We'll get to that in just a bit. Right now, here's our Liberty Hill Whittlesey Landscape and Supplies camera. Abundant, crisp blue sky on the horizon. We have a few cars driving to and from their plants on this Wednesday afternoon. And the solar forecast, once this front swings on through this afternoon, we're dealing with nothing but sunny skies for the near future. So the battery that represents the sunniest you can get on our scale. Current temperature 78 in Austin, 78 Bastrop, already east of I-35. Few 80s popping up, even 80 out in Llano County, 76 in Mason, up towards San Saba and Lampasas. You're in the upper 70s at this hour. So we have a thin little line of clouds now east of us toward Bastrop and Lockhart, but the hill country is blue sky, and that'll be the trend for the rest of the day today. Gusting up to 30 miles per hour in some spots, 18 mile per hour gusts picked up at Camp Mabry, 29 mile per hour gusts out toward the western parts of our area. Coming up, so where's the cold front? Not only where's this current cold front, but there's another one early next week we've been talking about. Will it bring rainfall, and how will it cool us down? I'll have answers in just a bit.
Tommy, thank you. We promised you we'd be right back here to the state capitol because we know it has been busy. So far, state lawmakers have filed a record-breaking 1,500 bills for consideration in next year's legislative session. And that is just a day after the filing period opened. Some of the top priorities we're already seeing highlighted in these bills filed so far include education, immigration, and LGBTQ+ issues.
Contributing to those bills is the most senior senator in the state. That's Senator Judith Zaffirini. She represents parts of Laredo all the way to Travis County. The senator's district is highlighted there in bright blue on this Texas Senate district map. KXAN's Dylan McKim actually talked with the senator to discuss this upcoming session.
When lawmakers convene in January, their only job is to pass a state budget. Everything else is what a former lieutenant governor described as
SCR4 constitutionally dedicated spending.
His unsorted.
Poetry. One of the most experienced poets in the state Congress.
My advice would be to focus on the issue and not to be partisan in presenting a bill.
Is Senator Judith Zaffirini, surrounded by gifts and statues from around the world.
Everywhere you look, you see things from friends and family members.
She's earned the big office.
Tell me when you're ready.
Approaching her 38th year at the Capitol, the most senior senator is always prepared for a new session. She's made it a tradition in her office to be the first in line to file bills for years. Tuesday, she filed 34 bills and 4 joint resolutions. One of the biggest issues on her mind is a familiar one.
As long as I have been in the Senate, the #1 priority for the families in my district has been education.
She shares that priority with Republican leadership. The debate on school vouchers will be back at the forefront at the start of this session. Senator Zaffirini is holding off commenting on the issue until she sees the bill.
The fact of the matter is that it's easy to take a position about vouchers in general. What's important is to understand the impact of vouchers and the particular voucher bill that is being considered.
But the senator does not believe there will be one overarching theme in this session. She believes we can expect legislation that is much like our state, diverse.
We are taking a live look now out in Round Rock, where we're seeing traffic moving as people head out to grab lunch, grab their coffee. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to have your full forecast, a look at your afternoon temperatures, and a look ahead at your weekend. A KXAN investigation found a Texas school district took more than a month to respond to allegations of sexual assault between some students on a school bus.
Investigator Kelly Wiley reports that internal records from that incident also reveal questions about how the state's legal battle over Title IX impacts school training on how to handle sexual misconduct claims.
Last school year, Brianna O'Neill's son got off the bus, came home, and told her someone had inappropriately touched him. Records show O'Neill quickly called Hutto ISD's transportation department. She said she was told someone with Title IX would contact her. Title IX is a federal law requiring schools to respond promptly to claims of sexual assault or harassment.
But 32 days after O'Neill reported what her son said happened to him on the bus, she says she still had heard nothing from the district's Title IX coordinator.
And I just kept calling transportation every day, every couple of days, like, hey, this happened, like nothing's changing, this is still going on. Never heard from anyone at Title IX.
That's when she left a voicemail for the transportation department saying, I've not heard from anyone and we're still having problems with the student. Email records showed the Title IX coordinator was informed about the incident on the bus the day O'Neill first reported it. But records show it was only after that voicemail that she heard back and they met.
She had printed out what the Title IX coordinator's job is. Came home, we reviewed it, and very clearly it says, you know, if a Title IX incident is reported, they're supposed to reach out to both families within a reasonable amount of time. She didn't do that.
O'Neill eventually filed a Title IX complaint, and in a letter, the district's then interim superintendent said the district determined that the Title IX coordinator did not act promptly to contact her with supportive measures, nor did they explain the process for filing a formal complaint. The interim superintendent said the district would reimburse her for her son's therapy. They also said changes were already being made to avoid similar missteps in the coming years. But when O'Neill said she asked what they meant,
they kept saying, because of privacy, we can't tell you what that means.
The district sent KXAN a link to its Title IX page with a new person listed as the program coordinator. The district declined to interview with us, but said in a statement, while all Title IX concerns are thoroughly investigated, some reports may not meet the specific criteria or rise to the level of a Title IX violation as defined by federal regulations. Nevertheless, we address each report with the utmost seriousness.
It was mishandled.
Heidi Goldstein with the nonprofit Stop Sexual Assault in Schools says concerns like O'Neill's are common across the country, where she says many schools don't have the funding or resources they need for Title IX investigations.
I think generally smaller districts have more trouble sort of massing what they need in terms of the investment and in terms of people who are knowledgeable to really handle this.
O'Neill has cut her losses. She's now removed her son from the district and enrolled him in an online program.
I'm very sad for my son. What happened to him on the bus happened. But the months since then and what they didn't do is 100% on them.
The records in O'Neill's case reveal something else. In a letter to the parents, then interim superintendent Dr. Cara Malone said regional education service centers, or ESCs, statewide had paused Title IX training at the time because of Texas's pending litigation involving the implementation of 2024 Title IX regulations in the state. She told O'Neill they were going to use a private vendor instead. We asked the Texas Education Agency about this. They told us that training was not officially paused, but they did confirm that some ESCs decided to postpone or not hold regularly scheduled Title IX training this summer. The agency said this was due to continued questions about what regulations would be in effect given Attorney General Ken Paxton's ongoing federal lawsuit challenging Joe Biden's Title IX changes. In Hutto, Kelly Wiley, KXAN Investigates.
Kelly, thank you. Kelly also contacted every ESC in our area to ask whether they had paused training because of the state's federal lawsuit over Title IX.
Region 13, which includes Hutto ISD, told us it postponed its Title IX training for districts that would have covered the new 2024 regulations in July. The region's leadership said it notified districts and gave them contact information for the trainers, but it has not provided Title IX training since then. See what the other centers had to say on KXAN.com in the story under the Investigates tab.
Hey, right now temperatures are continuing to warm up across the Lone Star State. You can find all the different cities here in our area down toward the mid-80s in the valley, up toward Dallas, mid-70s, Panhandle, 55 degrees. So pretty decent spread at this hour. Here's our Southeast Austin Whittlesey Landscape and Supplies camera showing some clear skies, few clouds mixed in here and there, and we'll be warming on up. Right now, 78 degrees at Camp Mabry in Austin. Winds are the west-northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour, humidity at 58%. Big picture is, as we're timing this dry cold front sweeping across our area. To the west of us, we have dry air that's filling in. It'll be much cooler overnight tonight. And to our east, some severe storms for parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. Let's put a picture to this front moving through. It's going to be dry, as I mentioned, so no rain expected, and we should be overall just having a clear sky for the rest of the day today. Overnight tonight, same idea with temperatures continuing to drop. So winds out of the northwest, 86 for a high. We should be at 72, so we're about 14 degrees warmer than our normal high this time of year, 50 for an overnight low. So you're going to start off your day tomorrow probably with a jacket, beanie maybe, some mittens out toward the hill country where it's in the low 40s toward Llano, Mason County, San Saba, Lampasas, and the east of I-35. Some 50s sprinkled in with upper 40s. The high temperature trend is we'll have a nice little seasonable dip of temps Thursday into Friday, and then by Saturday we're back up into the low 80s, so returning to our warmer conditions. Your 3-day forecast is mostly sunny skies today. We saw a few of those clouds build in, and then afternoon sunshine, overnight clear skies, and nothing but sun for your Thursday and Friday. We'll be dry for the majority of this weekend. I have a 20% chance of showers Sunday night, most likely into early Monday as our next front moves through, and that will cool us down much more than this front today. So here's how the clouds and radar could look Monday afternoon. We have a low pressure to our north. Cold front slides by, and overall we're going to be dealing with behind that front cooler high temperatures, so maybe in the mid-60s to close out next week. Again, we have to keep an eye on this as it could change, but the big picture right now is things are turning a bit cooler into next week. Tropics as well. Sarah is the next named storm in the Western Caribbean, a 90% chance of development there, and some of these computer models are trending a little bit all over the place and then kicking up north and east, and we really have to watch this as it continues to intensify. Again, the storm hasn't even fully developed yet, but these models are pushing a bit of a concern and trend with no wind shear and warmer than average temperatures. Your first warning weather 7-day forecast, 86 today, upper 70s Thursday and Friday. Bit of a warm weekend with maybe some showers and storms early next week.
Now let's take a live look from Dripping Springs. A beautiful day shaping up out there, but temperatures are going to be pretty warm. However, Tommy has details about when we could see a cool down coming up, so get excited for that. Rainy Street could get more crowded and even louder this time because of construction. Austin Energy will add an underground electrical duct bank. This protective system will house electrical lines from the Rainy Street substation. Last night, the Austin Capital Delivery Systems held an online community meeting. People involved in the project went over some updates, including the impact from construction that started just this month.
There's going to be noise, there's going to be vibration, there's going to be dust, and we'll try to control and minimize all of that.
Work on the first phase of that project is expected to be done next June.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
We've been following some developing news for you really all day. We are hearing things are getting back to normal in southeast Travis County after a gas leak earlier this morning.
This happened close to the Tesla Gigafactory, which is just east of State Highway 130 out there. KXAN's Dylan McKim is joining us live once again this afternoon with what we've learned so far. Dylan, what's the latest?
Hey guys, yeah, Atmos Energy telling us that a construction crew hit a natural gas pipeline. That's what caused this I should say, Austin Fire Department came out here to issue a evacuation, a precautionary evacuation for a cooling station that was nearby. It did not affect the rest of the factory here. In fact, people are continuing with their days here, their work day. Traffic is flowing smoothly. As far as the toll road, 130 both north and south, it's completely open as the Atmos Energy crews continue to work on that damaged pipeline. Guys.
First warning weather.
Now let's get over to Tommy House because he has been looking outside for us all day and unfortunately telling us that our afternoons are still hotter than I would prefer.
But there could be some relief in sight, right, Tommy?
Yeah, it's been kind of boring. I'm just staring at clouds today. But you know what? We have big changes on the way, not only today, but into the weekend. Let's talk about your forecast right now. Currently at the airport, 81 degrees, few low-level clouds. And these clouds kind of just came in and out pretty quickly. They moved through the area, then they're gone, and now it's sunny for the rest of the day today in the metro and the hill country. But east of I-35, you may notice out and about, there are a few lingering low-level clouds in our area. They are dry, though. No rain for today for our area. 82 in LaGrange, down toward 80 in Lockhart, 78 in Austin, 79. Marble Falls, how about Llano County at 81 degrees. San Saba right now at 77 degrees compared to where we were 24 hours ago. What about the same in Austin? How about 4 degrees warmer in Georgetown today? 4 degrees warmer in Burnet and Lampasas. You may feel some of that, but let's talk about this cold front moving through. Can you tell where the front is? Look at all this dry air out toward west of Burnet, Llano. I mean, these dew points are in the low 30s. Send some of that our way because it's in the upper 60s, low 70s, a dew point of 70 in San Marcos. So we should expect this dry area to build in throughout the afternoon into the evening hours, gusting up to 30 miles per hour today. You can see where the cloud cover is that I was talking about. All that's right along 290 toward Giddings and LaGrange toward Fayette County. But the hill country, clear and dry tonight. That's going to really drop temperatures. I mean, low 40s out toward Gillespie County, Marble Falls, 50 in Austin for a low temperature tonight. Back up into the 70s tomorrow. Better than the 80s where we are today. So here's what I'm tracking. Our afternoon forecast looking to the weekend, a little out toward the vineyard. Things may be nice and dry, but rain could be returning, which is great news for us. We're in an extreme drought for most of Travis County. We'll talk about timing and totals and all that good stuff here in just a bit.
Tommy, thank you so much. A new report highlights success stories of getting people off the streets here in Austin. It shows the downtown Austin Community Court has seen a huge uptick in people using its services.
In one case, a missing person from Illinois living with mental illness on the streets of Austin reconnected with family and got help back home. Here's another. Quote, the effort and dedication of the court allowed me to get off the street, find a treatment center in my hometown, and I have since celebrated over a year of uninterrupted sobriety. I am working now in a pre-apprenticeship program with an interest in a few local trade unions. The community court saw a 261% increase in cases filed in its court just last fiscal year. It also started a mobile court pilot this year that resulted in 929 court case checks, 141 docketed court cases, and 93 warrants cleared. It worked so well that the Austin City Council turned that pilot into a permanent program.
The data is incredibly clear. If individuals are connected to case management services and other resources, they're much more likely to resolve their housing crisis without things escalating for them or more barriers coming in their way, like additional justice involvement.
That all allowed the court to leverage the funding to apply for federal grants. Next week, the City Council will vote to accept more than $1.3 million. That money would allow the community court to partner with more local agencies and service providers to expand its work. The report also found more people are willing to walk into the downtown Austin Community Court for help. Since 2023, it saw a more than 30% increase in people using its walk-in case management program. That's roughly 72 people who voluntarily walk through its doors every day this fiscal year.
Austin city leaders are outlining their plans for a new I-35 just weeks after TxDOT celebrated the groundbreaking of its 8-mile freeway expansion near downtown. The Austin Mobility Committee is planning to discuss the city's cap and stitch vision plan. That'll be tomorrow. That plan details more than 100 pages worth of feedback and analysis on the proposed highway coverings and cross-street connections linking East Austin with downtown. City leaders are considering using more than 26 acres of public land for amenities such as entertainment and recreation space, public art, local vendors, parkland, and markets. Digital reporter Kelsey Thompson has a closer look at those project details and at when Austin City Council could adopt the plan. All of that is online at KXAN.com. An American jury awarded $42 million to 3 men who suffered mistreatment during the Iraq War. The 3 were prisoners at notorious prison Abu Ghraib. A jury found a Virginia-based military contractor responsible for contributing to the men's torture and mistreatment 2 decades ago. In 2004, photos of detainee mistreatment shocked the world during the U.S. occupation of Iraq. The 3 testified that they were subjected to beatings, sexual abuse, forced nudity, and other cruel treatment.
The CEO of ExxonMobil would like President-elect Donald Trump to keep the U.S. in the Paris Climate Agreement. That 2015 global deal is a pledge meant to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases that cause climate change. In 2020, the U.S. withdrew from the agreement during President Trump's first term. However, the following year, the U.S. rejoined under President Biden. The ExxonMobil CEO told the Wall Street Journal a second exit creates uncertainty and confusion regarding America's climate efforts. Nearly 200 countries agreed to reduce harmful emissions. ExxonMobil is headquartered in the Houston suburb of Spring, Texas.
Looking in depth, 196 parties adopted the agreement at the UN Climate Change Conference in Paris in December 2015. It took effect then in November 2016. According to the United Nations, the goal of the treaty is to hold the increase in global average temperature to below 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit above pre-industrial levels. Meanwhile, climate activists suffered a setback in Netherlands yesterday. A court there ruled Shell did not have to accelerate efforts to reduce carbon. The judges dismissed another court's ruling that ordered Shell to cut emissions by 45% by 2030. The environmental group that sued Shell said it would continue its fight against large polluters, but did not say whether it would appeal to the Netherlands Supreme Court.
The head of the federal agency will face questions next week from Congress about the response to recent hurricanes. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell will appear next Tuesday before the House Subcommittee on Economic Development, Public Buildings, and Emergency Management. Committee members are expected to question her about a former FEMA employee. The agency disclosed it fired that worker after learning this person advised others not to visit homes with yard signs that support Donald Trump. That was during Hurricane Milton relief efforts in Florida last month. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. would like real and extended pauses in fighting in Gaza so that aid can get to people who desperately need that.
All of this comes as the region is anxiously waiting for the Biden administration to be replaced by President-elect Donald Trump and his administration. He promised to bring peace to the Middle East, but has not said how he would accomplish that. NBC's Richard Engel reports from Jordan.
Here in the Middle East, Israel is still in the middle of two very intense wars, one against Hezbollah in Lebanon, the other against Hamas in Gaza. Speaking in Brussels, Secretary Blinken said that the time has come for Israel to end its war in Gaza. He said that even by Israel's own definition of success, even by the goals of the war, the objectives of the conflict that Israel laid out for itself, those objectives have been met, so it's time to wrap up that conflict. But I can tell you very few people here in the Middle East are listening to this administration anymore. It has truly entered a lame duck phase. They are preparing for the next administration. And one country in particular is already seeing positive signs, and that would be Israel. The Israeli government is reacting positively to the nomination of Mike Huckabee, the former governor of Arkansas, an evangelical Christian, to be Washington's ambassador to Israel. Huckabee has expressed strong support for Israel. In particular, he's expressed a lot of support for Israeli settlements in the West Bank. So the potential incoming ambassador, Donald Trump's representative in Israel, already getting a very warm reception from the Israeli government. They like what he has said in the past. They like what this could mean for relations between Israel, between the Netanyahu government and the administration in formation under the next president, Donald Trump.
That's Richard Engel reporting for us. Now, we'd like to shine a light on stories of inspiring women here in Central Texas. And so we need you to tell us about a remarkable woman in your life.
You can go to our website, KXAN.com, to nominate someone from your community. Or you can just point your smartphone camera at the QR code that you see right here on your screen, and it will lead you to the nomination page. Our local winner will travel to Los Angeles, where 125 women from across the country will be honored. You can send us your nominations now, as we just mentioned, and we are taking those until December 20th. A legendary fashion company is turning heads with its latest remodel.
Yeah, take a look at this. Louis Vuitton is doubling the size of its U.S. flagship store. That's in New York City, and it's using huge versions of its signature item to cover up the construction project. Not a bad idea. Here's some reaction from Fifth Avenue.
Would it make you go inside the store and spend some money? The stuff in there is not cheap.
I would love to. It's our 10-year anniversary. So I said this was the surprise for me, you know.
Good luck, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Louis Vuitton.
Lots of pressure there. We love it. All right, the brand owners actually did something pretty similar recently with a redesign of the Tiffany's flagship store that is just across the street in New York.
Hey, maybe here's an idea. If you're celebrating your 10-year anniversary, an extremely rare brooch containing 37 carats of emeralds and diamonds could be yours if you just happen to have nearly $9 million to spend. The pricey piece of jewelry is now up for auction in Geneva. A prince actually gave this to his bride back in 1960, and 9 years later it sold to the jewelry company Van Cleef & Arpels. This is the second time in 55 years that the rare jewel went up on the auction block. Christie's said the gem was unearthed in a Colombian emerald mine. So there's some anniversary ideas for all the loved ones out there for sure.
Wow.
I heard that that was the world's most expensive green gem. So like we're breaking records there.
I believe it. It was about $8.8 million. So, you know,
That's so
chump
much
change
money. That
for
is so
somebody.
much
Start
money.
saving now.
Wow. Well, y'all, it's warm. It'll change, right? We're looking forward to a cooler few days. Those overnight lows, look at those 40s here and there, which is a little chilly for me, but that's fine. Afternoon will be in the upper 70s tomorrow, which is probably the pick of the week in terms of weather, and then maybe some showers and a cold front early next week. The weekend, 82, maybe some rain on your Sunday.
I'm liking seeing some of those 50s and even 40s as lows. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like if you love the winter, you start off the morning cold, and then if you love the summer, the afternoon's for you. You kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I like that. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching us here at KXAN News at noon. We will see you back here in 30 minutes with another update on news and weather. So we'll see you then, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Take care.
Bye.